What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. For today's video, thanks to the team over at Killerbody, we're going to be checking out their Transformers Dark of the Moon electronic Megatron prop replica helmet. Now, for those of you that want to check one of these out for yourselves, I'll be sure to include links down in the description box below. And here we have Megatron's head, which is something that I never in a million years thought I'd be saying, but damn does it look sick. It's incredible. And do you know, I don't think they could have picked a better Megatron design to base this helmet off, because as you guys will recall, towards the end of the Revenge of the Fallen movie, going into Dark of the Moon, Megatron gets half his face brutally blown off by jet-powered Prime, which does result in a pretty decent amount of battle damage. And as you turn it here to the side, look at how mangled he is. I mean, we get bits of circuitry, there's mesh, there's springs sticking out here, there, and everywhere. He was definitely in a pretty bad state towards the end of the Dark of the Moon movie, which, to be fair, I think Optimus probably did him a favour in ripping his head off, because I don't think he would have lasted much longer. But in terms of the detail, this thing looks nuts, and to tell the truth, pretty accurate to how it briefly shows up in Transformers Age of Extinction. I do believe they use Megatron's head to kind of infect the Galvatron drone, which is why it becomes the big bad of Transformers 4, for better or for worse. But yeah, detail-wise, this guy looks insane. I love the serrated teeth with the tusks kind of jutting out the side of the cheeks, and this side of the face is a little more pristine, because before Prime goes ahead and smacks his axe in the back of Megatron's head, I don't think this had much battle damage on it. But yeah, it looks incredible. Now, as we get stuck into the touch control feature to kickstart things off with, you are going to want to flip this guy here to the underside, which is where I'll be placing my head later on in the video. But you are going to want to come to the activation switch, which is the closest to the battery pack. So once we power this on, you will get one loud kind of resurrection sound. It kind of sounds like he's been fused once again with the shard of the Allspark, and he'll kind of exit battle mode. So as you guys can see, the crest will shoot up, but we can enter battle mode by simply just pushing this side of the cheek. And that is so sick. I mean, the way these pieces of the helmet kind of shoot forward, and personally, I love the way the mouth moves along with the speech. That is awesome, man. The way the eye and the tubes begin twitching, much like we saw in the movie, is just insane. And then here for this side, if you push it, it does basically turn off all of the LEDs. You know, I'm not sure why you'd want to do this, but it is an option. So let's quickly demo that. So you do kind of get a power down sound, and it's very easy to power back on. And the sound effects on this guy are very loud. But let's demonstrate exit battle mode once again. Because as you guys can see, we do get a Decepticon insignia, which is placed inside. Now, this is removable, it is magnetic, and it does light up once it is fused with the head of Megatron, which I thought was pretty awesome. But yeah, that pretty much wraps it up here for the touch control. And if you wanted to use this for conventions or, you know, a Comic-Con, and you only want the eyes and the movement activated and not the sound effects, you can come over to the opposite side of the battery pack, and there is a separate switch, which when pushed will basically deactivate all of the sound effects. So just to demonstrate, if we enter battle mode, you'll get exactly the same movements, just without the sound effects. So yeah, I do like that they give you that option. But anyway, let's now jump into the remote control features. So for this, you're going to want to whack out the remote control, which is very nicely disguised as the Decepticon insignia, and it also has 3 different options. So you get a button at the top of the crest, one on the left and one on the right hand side, all of which do different things. So if you smack the one on the top of the crest, it does cause the eye lights to deactivate, and then if you push it again, they will reactivate. Now, the left-hand side basically does exactly the same as the touch control feature did. So if you push it, it will cause him to exit battle mode, and then if you push it again, he will proceed to enter battle mode. But it's really the right hand switch which does most of the heavy lifting in terms of the remote control features, as we get so many different phrases. So let's very quickly cycle through a few of these. Which, to my knowledge, I don't believe is a clip taken from the movie. I think this is just a generic bad guy voice. It doesn't sound like Hugo Weaving nor Frank Welker, but to tell the truth, I still think for the most part it fits the helmet pretty nicely. That one, to be fair, I can't quite understand over the sounds of the hydraulics, but still pretty awesome movement. Do as I command. I am Megatron.
Leader of the Decepticons, the universe is mine. You fools. Oh hell, Megatron.
And those are pretty much all of the phrases he has. So for the most part, I think they work. There are a few which sound a little strange considering that it's kind of a generic bad guy voice, but I think the ones that are implemented into the touch control, such as the I am Megatron, is definitely the best one he says. But we also have to talk about voice control, so let's get stuck into that. So there are quite a few different commands that you can give him. Some work better than others, and they're all mentioned on the instruction sheet, so definitely be sure to give that a read before you begin kind of spouting off all kinds of nonsense to Megatron. But first of all, he will respond to his name, so Megatron!
I am Megatron.
Close the eye lights. Open the eye lights. Dismiss battle mode. Start battle mode.
Decepticons, attack!
And those are pretty much all of the voice commands that you can give him. To tell the truth, I don't think this is likely a mode that I'll be revisiting after this video, because all of them you can achieve by simply just pushing the cheek or using the remote control, and it can sometimes take quite a few attempts for him to actually listen and perform the commands that you're giving him. So yeah, that can definitely get a little bit annoying, but still, it is awesome they packed it in. And like I said previously, if you are going around with this thing on your head during a few conventions, you know, you whack out one of those phrases such as I am Megatron.
I am Megatron.
It's definitely going to scare the crap out of anyone who's standing nearby. So I believe that just about wraps up everything in terms of both the voice and remote control features. Let's get down to the voice changer. So what you're going to want to do for this is first of all make sure that you switch off the sound effects button, because if you have it turned on, unfortunately it's not going to work too well. And then basically you just place this over the top of your head.
And I am Megatron, leader of the Decepticons. Subscribe to the Prime vs. Prime YouTube channel.
And as I'm sure you guys probably heard, that doesn't work too good, does it? Because basically, the voice changer itself is not loud enough to kind of go over the top of the animatronic sounds of the mouth moving, and it's just not a very good voice changing gimmick. So unfortunately, I do think that's probably the weakest part about this guy, but I definitely think he more than makes up for it in regards to both the touch and remote control feature, and even a few of the voice commands. Now, as we jump into a few comparisons, here we have Megatron alongside the previously released Killerbody Bumblebee Optimus Prime helmet. And in terms of display pieces, you know, these things look absolutely incredible. Optimus Prime was insanely cool, but I've got to give it to Megatron in terms of features. You know, that opening mouth with the movable teeth and the way the crest and the helmet all moves, I just think is so freaking awesome. And personally, me being a massive fan of the live-action Michael Bay movies, I just think the design is so much more interesting to take a look at, especially when you're kind of dissecting all of the ins and outs of the battle damage. The only thing which the Prime helmet has, which the Megatron one doesn't, is Bluetooth compatibility. But I do believe Killerbody have plans to release a separate display base, which is kind of disguised as Megatron's spine, which will have that Bluetooth compatibility. So I'll also be sure to include a link for that down in the description box below. But yeah, these look awesome. And then finally, here it is alongside their original release, that being the Bumblebee helmet, which still is such an incredible piece. I mean, I think both of these are probably on par in terms of their features. I mean, the way you could kind of activate the battle mask of the Killerbody Bumblebee helmet was just always so insane, but to see them kind of incorporate a battle mode gimmick into this Megatron, I also think is a pretty sick idea. And so, wrapping up on this review for the Killerbody Transformers Dark of the Moon Megatron. Overall, I think it's an incredible looking piece. I mean, in terms of the design, near enough bang on to the actual prop that we saw featured in Transformers Age of Extinction. You know, I think the painting and the sculpting is incredible, especially where some of those battle damage pieces are. You know, all of the intricate tubing, the wiring, the mesh, which is kind of sticking out the back of Megatron's head, really do look dope. And in terms of features, I'm going to go ahead and say, I think this is probably the best one they've made. It definitely does top what we've seen from their Optimus Prime and Bumblebee, and I also like the options in how you can operate this guy. I mean, the touch control and the remote control features are awesome. Do you know, the voice control is a little more temperamental. It doesn't always work, and I can imagine that if you have this out in the open with lots of people close by, it might take quite a few attempts for the helmet to actually register exactly what you're saying. And in terms of the voice changing feature, gotta be honest with you guys, I think it is by far the weakest part about this helmet. You know, you can't really hear what the voice changer is saying, but personally, I think think the other features more than make up for it. But this is a very expensive piece. You know, this thing retails for around £430, and if you're into premium collectibles, you like Transformers and in particular Megatron, then I think this is probably the best prop replica helmet that is out there. It definitely destroys that G1 version which I've seen floating around, because to tell the truth, I haven't seen anything which comes close to how awesome this Megatron head looks. So again, I want to say a massive thank you to Killerbody for sending this my way here for a video review. Definitely be sure to check out those links down in the description box below, and until my next video, I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.